Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Let's take a look at two different ways to solve that yard problem, that water problem out in your yard. We've got collection. You know what that is, right? That would be like catch basins, French drains, channel drains, even the gutters. That's all collection. So once we've collected that water, where do we put it? Where do we send it? So that's the discharge. We have several different types of discharges. Let's take a look at some examples. Okay, let's make this quick. This is the roof and the gutters. When it rains, that water, of course, is being collected by the gutters. This is protected by screens on this one, and it's really nice. Let's open this up and take a look so you can see how clean that gutter actually stays. Remember, we're talking about collection of water so that it doesn't flood your yard. So the water comes across the roof, it drops into the downspout. That's the drop where the downspout goes down. And look how clean that gutter is, just pure water. So just how much water are we talking about? During a 1-inch rainfall, a 2,000 square foot roof gathers 1,160 gallons of water. Where does all that water go? All of that water from the roof is collected by that gutter and comes down what's called a downspout. That water comes straight down to the ground, and if there's no pipe under the ground to carry it away, of course, it's going to flood all around that area. That causes damage to your foundation, also floods the yard. So we've collected the water with the gutters up on the roof, and we brought it down through the downspout, but now we need to send that water somewhere. And this is done with what we call a drain tile or a downspout drain. And that pipe can also be PVC or corrugated, but we need to move this water away from the house and out to the street where it belongs. The downspout drain is the most important drain in this rainwater drainage system because your roof gathers so much water, and if it has no place to go, chances are it's going to end up under your home or flood the yard. So before you can lay pipe, of course you need to have a trench that goes from the downspout out to the street. You can dig this trench using a machine called a trencher, or you could dig it by hand. Still part of the discharge is where you're going to end this pipe. Here is a pop-up emitter, and that is used when you don't want to go out all the way to the street. The other option is to drill a hole through your curb. This is really the best option because it allows the water to flow freely without obstruction out to the street. So if we look at this flood in this yard, you can see this thing's just full of water. There's puddles, ponds all over this yard. But the solution is still a two-step process. We need to collect the water and discharge that water somewhere. This type of problem really isn't that hard to solve. It is a different system, and we're going to use what's called a French drain and catch basins. Okay, now let's look at our French drain. What is a French drain and what does it do? A French drain collects subsurface water, water that's underground in your yard. Sometimes this is needed. The water in this yard, you can see the big pond. It has no place to go because underneath of that pond, the ground is saturated with water. So if you're trying to collect underground water, this is the drain to use. It's perforated pipe surrounded by gravel. You can use both corrugated and PVC. So again, this is the collection, and we're collecting the underground water, subsurface water. We lay a bed of gravel, we lay our perforated pipe with holes pointing down, and as that water rises, it will come through that gravel and the pipe will carry it away. We surround the pipe with gravel. That just allows more water to enter into that pipe. As the water rises underground, it floods up through the gravel into the pipe, and the pipe will carry that away. Sometimes French drain all by itself can solve that type of a problem, but there are other times that you still need to add more collection. Remember, the French drain, as you can see, collects that underground water, and it discharges very well. However, it is very, very slow. The French drain will collect water from any yard, but it is kind of slow. So if you've got an area that's really flooded and you want to get that water out of there so you can walk across the yard, you need to add a catch basin. So in this yard, you can see it is totally flooded. Even the swale out front is flowing, but totally flooded. So what else can we do to collect the water so that it can discharge and keep this yard where you can walk across it without getting wet? Let's take a look at what a catch basin does. Here's 3 different kinds. We've got my favorite, this little 6x6 round catch basin. What is a catch basin? A catch basin is exactly what the name says. This catches debris. You can see this little space down here underneath. This is where the discharge pipe comes out, but the debris sits down in the bottom. So you put the grate on the top. This goes in the low spot of the yard. When it rains hard, all that water pours into the basin. It just pours into the basin and the pipe carries it away. Don't forget, you must have a discharge. You cannot run this into a dry well. You cannot run this underground and let it dead end. It must discharge to daylight. So if you've got a good downhill run, simple. If you don't, you're going to need a sump pump. Catch basins are kind of like a floor drain in your basement or a deck drain. When you run water across that floor, it drops directly into the pipe below and is carried away. It works the same way in the yard. You can attach it to solid pipe or you can attach it directly to your French drain. Catch basins are designed to collect that immediate water so that when it rains really hard and water is pouring across the ground, if your catch basin is in the low spot of that yard, it will collect that water and send it down through that pipe. So those are 2 ways to collect the water that's in your yard. The discharge of a French drain or from a catch basin is really the same as a downspout drain. You need to send this water downhill, either out to the street or maybe to a natural area that's behind the house. Collection and discharge. Those are really the 2 steps to solving any water problem in your yard. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.